Hello and welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Well, 2009 is drawing to a close. While admittedly this show started in 2008, the majority of the episodes were in 2009, so I can't help but feel nostalgic at the fact that I've actually had this show going on for well over a year. It's been a long ride, and I've been amazed at the amount of people who actually like this weird Minnesotan comic book nerd. But as I look back at all of these episodes, I have to kick myself here and there, since there were some damn good joke opportunities that I just didn't catch or were pointed out to me later. Well, no longer. To close out 2009, we're gonna right the wrongs and make proper jokes. This is the top 15 missed opportunities of Atop the Fourth Wall.
Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention, and more, much more than this, I did it my way.
Welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Linkara's gonna teach you all a lesson you won't learn. Brodsky, you're not the smartest. Life out, you're not an artist. Anyone who's had a bad comic published, it could be your turn. Linkara, he's a man punch, wears a purdy hat. Linkara, he has a magic gun. Where'd he purchase that? Linkara, coins, robots, Amazons and trucks. Linkara, this comic sucks. Linkara.
I did it my
Number 15. Cinnamon number 11. So yeah, turns out that Dawn's date is actually a communist spy. That's just weird. Redneck communists. Now listen up, y'all. If you're yelling "Yee-haw!" at the side of the bourgeoisie getting kicked in the pants, you just might be the urban proletariat.
and more, much more than this, I did it my
Number 14, US-1 number 1.
way.
After a brief scene where we meet US's trucker parents, said parents get killed off panel. Well, thanks for letting us acclimate to those characters before they're lost. Anyway, after the loss of such legendary truckers as, whoever US's parents were supposed to be, their fellow truckers dress up their vehicles in black and drive the longest funeral convoy Wheeler had ever seen. Bum ba dum ba ba da 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 dum. We got a great big convoy trucking through the night. We got a great big convoy, ain't she a beautiful sight?
and more, much more than this, I did it my
Number 13, Superman at Earth's End. So Superman, you know what? I'm not gonna call him that. Bearded idiot flies off with the remaining kids to fight the mutant hordes of the twin Hitlers. Dear God in heaven, I can't believe that this comic makes that sentence possible!
and more, much more than this, I did it my
Number 12, Maximum Clonage Omega.
way.
Actually, I've got a couple here for this one. See, even I knew the length of the video was getting ridiculous, so I had to skip over a whole bunch of stuff in order to end it as quickly as I could. Rather an apt metaphor for the Clone Saga, actually. Before Spidey and the Clone Gwen go to the Daily Bugle, they head over to the Jackal's lab. Here they meet a giant floating hologrammatic head of the Jackal. You've made a big mistake breaking in here. I was just in the middle of assembling 5 teenagers with attitude. Seems like we've triggered an automatic security system. Gwen, get out of here! She's safe. Here, let me just shove your completely freakish, eyeless body into a wall. That'll keep you safe. For that matter, this brief fight scene is yet more pointless padding to the whole thing. Another fight scene added in because this was supposed to be some big finale when all it did was waste our time. Anyway, another scene is where Spider-Side and the Jackal are fighting inside the Daily Bugle. The Jackal, evidently keeping a gun under his coat, don't ask, dissolves the wall and they fall out the window! No, stop, please. You have so much to live for. Live, damn it, live. You've never given up on anything before. Oh, I can't look. Please think of the children. Know the humanity.
More, much more than this, I did it.
Number 11, Uncanny X-Men number 423. This one I have no excuse for. I really should have caught this on my own, but my wonderful fans were quicker and smarter to catch it and point it out to me. Take it away! Next is Logan, whom Nightcrawler says is often called Wolverine because he's short, tough, and has these 100-inch claws that shoot out of each hand. Hey kids, guess what? 100-inch claws would mean that his claws were 3 feet longer than I am tall! Did Chuck Austin not know how to use a freaking ruler? Actually, given his bottomless stupidity when it came to religion, character dynamics, general drama, relationships, Superman, likable characterization, and in general anything except his work on Exiles, his lack of understanding rulers is the least of his worries.
More, much more than this, I did it my
Number 10, Countdown. So this is our villain, Darkseid, ruler of apocalypse, grand manipulator on a cosmic scale, seeker of the anti-life equation, and collector of action figures. It's sad when the villain of your comic reminds you of Lord Helmet from Spaceballs.
Lord Helmet, what? You need it on the bridge, sir. Knock on my door! Knock next time! Yes, sir. Did you see anything? No, sir. I didn't see you playing with your dolls again. Good!
More, much more than this, I did it my
Number 9, Silent Hill Dying Inside number 5. As Lauren unlocks the door, a shadow puppet appears from nowhere. But what have I unleashed from Whatley's corpse? Who the hell is Whatley? Well, apparently Whatley, pronounced Waitley, is actually a character from H.P. Lovecraft's The Dunwich Horror. Let's ignore for a second that this is Silent Hill and not Lovecraft. Let's instead point out that the big villain of your horror story is based on a guy who didn't even get defeated by the heroes, but by the freaking guard dog without us actually seeing it either. But that's assuming he's supposed to be a reference to Waitley. But I have a hard time believing that anybody gave this story a second thought outside of, let that Christabella use the F word more often. That's scary.
more, much more than this, I did it my
Number 8, Amazon's Attack number 2. Anywho, Superman suddenly hears something and flies off at top speed. Nemesis contacts Batman and issue 2 ends with him informing him that Kansas, all of Kansas, is on fire. That doesn't even begin to make any sense. It's even worse when you think about it in hindsight after the series is over. First of all, we know that the Bana are the ones who are attacking areas outside of Washington, D.C., and it sure doesn't look like there are enough of them to put a whole state on fire. Secondly, really? The whole state? You know, Kansas isn't just one big cornfield, you know. Are you telling me all the buildings are on fire? The roads are ablaze as well? What about the space occupied by people? That's on fire? Oh, the lakes must be on fire too. Well, actually, that'd make sense considering Greek fire, but we see that the Bana are more into the high-tech weapons. What about actual fires going on in the city? Someone's having a barbecue and the fire is on fire as well? I know I'm kind of reaching with this one, but we clearly see in the next issue that basically this shock ending was worthless, seeing as Superman just had to blow on the fire to put it all out. And did this comic need any more blowing than it had already done?
More, much more than this, I did it my
Number 7, 22 Brides number 1. They decide to show him who he's dealing with by arming themselves. Who wants the Glock and who wants the Patriot missile? A Patriot missile? A Patriot missile? Let's even forgive that the things are $3 million per missile and just skip right to the fact that they're like 20 feet long. And that's assuming the worst possible situation, that they're actually serious when they say that one of those stick figures they call a character is gonna lug around a Patriot missile as their weapon. The best possible scenario is that this was just a joke, and for that, I'll let Galvatron sum that up.
This is bad comedy.
More, much more than this, I did it my
Number 6, Mickey Mantle number 2. Here you go, buddy. Billy is just a ball card of me. Well, Mick, maybe if you keep hitting dingers and we win the World Series a few more times, that card will be worth a couple of bucks. Always kidding, Billy. Imagine someone paying a couple of bucks for a baseball card with my picture on it. That'll be the day. Baseball card collecting. Hey, Lee from Stu Gaming, how did that whole thing work out for you?
Shut up.
Everybody knows that cards are only valuable if they have Mr. T on them.
more, much more than this, I did it my
Number 5, Blood Pack number 1. So what, did the alien bite grant him the power to buy guns and choose ridiculous costumes? It's an all-red ensemble with a head mask that opens up for his hair and face, which is also red, by the way. On his torso, he has various grenades, pouches, and a pointy, multi-layered shoulder pad. This is what happens when you concentrate dangerous amounts of the 90s into one comic.
Dude, Blood Pack is awesome, man. They have knives coming out of their hands and like chicks in their underwear and stuff. And one of them has the greatest superpower of all, guns! Hey, I'm 90s kid, and what you see is what you get.
more, much more than this, I did it my
Number 4, Neutro number 1.
All we do know is Neutro is the most terrifying menace, and the strongest force for good the world has ever seen.
Yeah, I'm sure the alien robot of death that rains hellish destruction upon the world is truly a force for good.
Whichever group controls him holds the destiny of the world. Who will it be?
A very good question. I hope they answer that in the next issue. Oh wait, Neutro didn't have a second issue. Maybe it would have been more successful if you hadn't billed him as a superhero while he was slaughtering thousands of people. And by the way, our strongest force for good is also easily overtaken by a ham radio set.
more, much more than this, I did it my
Number 3, Youngblood number 1. Yes, not only do they have their eyes tightly shut, but their mouths are clamped firmly down even though there are both speech bubbles and caption boxes that indicate that people should be talking. The speech bubble for the news announcer doesn't even have an arrow connecting it to him. For all we know, they're just putting Bob Squarebody there on the screen while he took some NyQuil and someone else is trying to make it look like they're actually talking.
In the weather today, a cold front is moving in through the north and generally making things unpleasant. In other news, celebrities embarrassed themselves by being utter incompetents when it came to their sex lives, and somehow gossip about rich people qualifies as news that you need to be concerned with. In the world of sports,
more, much more than this, I did it my
Number 2, Mr. T and the T-Force number 1. In the comments section for this one, it was pointed out to me that I missed a great chance to make fun of the Mr. T comic because of the letter column. The publisher, Now Comics, actually made up letters for the column. I hadn't noticed since after the Dooms 4 incident. I never wanted to check letter columns again. Well, in preparation for this review, I went back to find the letter column and it's not there. Seriously, it's just an advertisement for other Now Comics. Maybe mine's a reprint or something, but that irritates me. I could have made so many jokes out of that. As a consolation prize, though, enjoy the letter column for Mr. T and the T-Force number 4. Now, the laughable part about this is that the letters are referencing Mr. T in the T-Force number 3. The problem is that comic books are usually completed months in advance of when they come out, and while there was indeed a 3-month delay between issues 1 and 2, it's highly unlikely they were actually able to squeeze it in there when the others came out from month to month. As a result, let's enjoy the madness. The art was super, and I love the message that it sends about drugs. It's a crack baby, fool! When I saw Mr. T on the Home Shopping Club selling his first issue, I loved what he said about not using any weapons in his comic. Yes, coercion and blackmail are the real weapons to use, kids. Issue 3 of Mr. T and the T-Force was T-rific. I suddenly understand why some publishers have stopped printing letter columns. Not only was number 3 packed full of
Powerhouse excitement!
but when I was done reading it, I learned that this comic is teaching people to do something useful with themselves instead of fighting. I would just like to point out that Mr. T is perfectly willing to use violence to beat up drug dealers and smash cars. Dear T-Force, I wanted to know if Mr. T has any superpowers.
No, Mr. T has no superpowers. In fact, he's just a regular person like you or me. Rather than relying on superpowers, he relies on the T-Force. Which we haven't really explained what that is, but it's totally not a superpower. The communicator watches.
Yes, Zordon, I'm on my way to the command center now.
And his trusty vidcam. Rather than having super strength, Mr. T uses his head to get him out of tricky situations.
Regrets, I've had a few, but then again.
And the number 1 missed opportunity of Atop the Fourth Wall is Captain Planet and the Planeteers number 3. Back when I came to the Brawl, I decided to do an interview with Mati in preparation for the review of this comic. But due to my bottomless stupidity, we just didn't have time to film it. Fortunately, when I broke into the critic's house for the Alone in the Dark review, we were able to sit down and have that interview. And here we go, before we went widescreen. So Mati, what's the deal? You're acting pretty badass in this comic.
Yes, well, I was sick and tired of Mati being portrayed as a pussy. So yes, I went out and became a badass.
Wait a second, haven't I seen you somewhere before?
I'm just Mati, and yeah, I mean, look, Ted Turner can totally suck my balls.
Wait a second, I know where I've seen you before. You're that guy who was pretending to be Mati to the Nostalgia Critic.
Well, I'm a man!
Ah! Son of a... So there you have it, folks, the top 15 missed opportunities for 2009 and a bit of 2008. I wish you all a happy new year, and hopefully I won't have to do this again next year. An Amazon attack. A deadly bee weapon. Bees. My God.
Oh, no, not the beast! Not the beast! Ah! Open my eyes!